Easy+Funny+ the most talented woman of all time plus the Imperial examination, Chen Ning traveled through Bianjing during the Song Dynasty and mistakenly identified Li Qingzhao as a Qing official at the beginning. On the banks of Bian River, the spring breeze is warm. Girl, I'm sorry, I was wrong that night. Girl, do you mind? Take this money and our romantic relationship will end here. Girl, do you mind if we have another final hug goodbye? How about that? Girl, I know you're angry, but don't be angry yet. Put down the brick in your hand. What? Your name is Li Qingzhao. Why are you just a novice? After Li Qingzhao left in shame and anger, Chen Ning suddenly noticed that something golden had fallen from the place where Li Qingzhao had left. You have found proficiency in painting, treasure appreciation, thin gold body, song history, 5 years of Imperial examination and 3 years of simulation. Chen Ning. Sleeping slot. I seem to be able to pick attributes on Li Dacai's female body. Chapter 1. Admitting the wrong person at the beginning. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Bianjing, early spring. In March of Yangchun, the smoke waves paint bridges, and the streets are bustling with cars and horses, with crowds jostling one after another. By the bank of Bian River. Chen Ning looked at the 3 taels of silver in his hand and was sighing deeply. Good news, he has traveled. Bad news, he traveled back to the end of the northern Song Dynasty. Good news, he has a wife. Bad news, his wife fell ill and died when she just passed by. Good news, after the mother's death, her beautiful sister came to live with her. Bad news, his predecessor attended a banquet half a month ago and slept with a girl. Good news, the girl is not his beautiful aunt. What a 7-fold sky of ice and fire. Chen Ning is now speechless and doesn't know what to say. The girl who slept has been in contact with this troublemaker through letters for the past half-month. Chen Ning immediately planned to cut off this exposed marriage and volunteered to give the other party 3 taels of silver as artillery expenses. He was originally a poor scholar from Bianjing. He was so poor that he caused trouble. Even though he was so poor, he couldn't control the big sparrow, which really made his scalp tingle. The artillery expenses that came out today were still what he asked his aunt for. He deceived her by saying that he wanted to buy a scientific examination book and had no money. Without saying a word, his aunt gave him the dowry money he had saved. The two agreed in a letter to meet and have a detailed conversation by the Bian River today. Northern Song Dynasty, in the 3rd year of Yuanfu, Bianjing. By the bank of Bian River. A woman with a light blue skirt and a white front is leaning against the embankment of Bianxiao River, holding a round fan. Li Qingzhao, the most talented woman of the Song Dynasty, is waiting for the imperial student Zhao Mingcheng. A month ago, Li Qingzhao met Zhao Mingcheng, a student, at a lyric meeting. Zhao Mingcheng launched a fierce pursuit of Li Qingzhao. She actually doesn't have much regard for Zhao Mingcheng, but Li Qingzhao's father tried his best to match her with Zhao Mingcheng. There is no other reason, because Zhao Mingcheng's father was a court official and Li Qingzhao's father wanted a political alliance. So today I forced my daughter Li Qingzhao to come out on a date with Zhao Mingcheng. White clothes, blue dresses, that's her. Chen Ning bravely walked towards Li Qingzhao and called out softly, Mississippi. Li Qingzhao looked at Chen Ning with confusion. She had fair skin, a handsome complexion, a tall figure, but a rough linen shirt, which looked a bit embarrassed and impoverished. She ignored Chen Ning, her eyes still looking around, but she didn't see Zhao Mingcheng coming to the appointment for a long time. Chen Ning was also looking at Li Qingzhao, with willow eyebrows and pink complexion, melon seed face, fair skin, and a typical beauty that could be easily broken by a blow. He suddenly hesitated, was his decision to sever his robe and righteousness a bit hasty? Continuing to engage in prostitution for free. It's not enough to engage in prostitution for free. Isn't this delaying my own scientific examination? What if my aunt at home finds out that I'm sorry for her sister? Chen Ning has a strong desire to die. 3 days ago, he traveled to the end of the northern Song Dynasty. He was originally a scholar and had a family, but unfortunately, his wife had only just passed away, and he died of a serious illness. The family members were originally engaged in business, but were arrested and exiled to southern Xinjiang for their crimes, leaving only one eldest daughter, who was their own aunt, to join them. As for scholars, they are all charming, and Chen Ning's predecessor was also one. A few days ago, he went to attend a literati gathering banquet and slept with a good family girl under the disturbance. After several communications between the two, Chen Ning traveled across the country. His economic situation in Bianjing is not very good, it can be said that it is very bad. He did not have the life of Lu Yong, but he fell ill with Lu Yong. I like to stay overnight in brothels every day, and the brothels of all sizes in Bianjing are all sales caves. Lu Yong can go for free, not only can he go for free, but the girls will also compete to give him money and flowers. He is a pure and innocent big grudge seed. Even if you're poor, you can still soar on horseback waves. I often give girls money in brothels and generously pay for my friends and classmates from time to time. Chen Ning's parents were originally merchants from Bianjing, but they passed away early and left him some inheritance, which he spent almost all of. When Chen Ning's parents were alive, they arranged a marriage for him. The other party was also a merchant woman, but unfortunately, the woman had only recently passed away due to illness. Later, the other party's family was implicated in the tribute case, and their parents committed the crime. Originally, their eldest daughter was supposed to be appointed as the education bureau, but fortunately, the other party's family used money to settle the situation, which saved her from danger. So later on, the eldest daughter defected to Chen Ning, the younger uncle of Bianjing. Now Chen Ning and his aunt live together in a courtyard in Bianjing. His own money has already been squandered by him, and he immediately found a way to get his aunt's money. I asked my aunt for the money from the last literati gathering. In this situation, if Chen Ning doesn't completely cut off the past and still sucks on his aunt's blood, is this too much? Too unethical? So, no matter what, he must make a complete end to it today. The first sword, cut off all past Dewey marriages. In the future, reform yourself and become a new person. Even if the pretty lady standing in front of him was so gentle and charming, he had to be a man with a heart of stone. After a long period of psychological construction, Chen Ning looked at Li Qingzhao and said, "Girl. I'm sorry." Li Qingzhao. Chen Ning said, "That bad fate was my fault. I reflect on it, I reflect on it." Li Qingzhao. Chen Ning said, "I know I will hurt you if I do this, but I have some difficulties. I hope the girl understands." Li Qingzhao. Where did he come from? What is he doing? Do we know each other? Also, who is related to you by marriage? Who are you? Chen Ning said, "I have made up my mind to reform and become obsessed with the Imperial examination in the future. I will not pay attention to worldly affairs." Li Qingzhao's mouth twitched. Chen Ning. So, anyway, that night was my fault. That night, I hurt you. I shouldn't sleep with you. Li Qingzhao widened her eyes, as if she had discovered something remarkable. Chen Ning said, "These are 3 tails of silver patterns. If the girl doesn't mind, she can accept them. Let's all bid farewell to the past. What's the point? If the girl doesn't mind anymore, why don't we give each other a hug and say goodbye? What's the point? 3 tails of silver, you can't give it for free." Li Qingzhao finally couldn't help but drink coquettishly, "Heartless man. Scumbag. Shameless. A disciple. A scumbag. Qingzhao." Next to him, a Confucian-looking guy opened his mouth in a daze and looked at Chen Ning and Li Qingzhao in astonishment. Li Qingzhao only then realized that Zhao Mingcheng, the young master Zhao, was standing next to him at an unknown time. She was stunned for a moment. Her crazy appearance just now was gone, and she had become the gentle and most talented woman in history. She stroked her hair on her chest and asked, "Zhao, when did you come?" Zhao Mingqing said eagerly, "From the moment he said he would sleep with you." Li Qingzhao. Her handsome face turned red and she said angrily, "I don't know him." Lying trough. Chen Ning, whose body trembled, as if he had noticed something remarkable. He stared blankly at his buddies beside him, only feeling the green light emanating from his head. Chen Ning immediately said, "Yes. I don't know her. Don't misunderstand. We are innocent." Wait. What does he call her? Qingzhao. Which Qingzhao? Ian Jusher. Li Qingzhao. Chapter 2. I brush properties on Li Qingzhao. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Did I split it completely? Even if Li Qingzhao is in dire straits, he wouldn't have been slept by a poor and clumsy scholar, would he? Moreover, Li Qingzhao, who is now 16 years old, is very proud. His father, Li Dacai, holds an official position in the court, and his career has not yet declined. Li Qingzhao is about to mark the most brilliant meteor in the Song Dynasty's literary world. Will such a beautiful and talented woman be slept by a clumsy scholar? The whole split. Chen Ning's awkwardly fingered toes were able to dig out 3 bedrooms and 1 living room. He quickly explained to Zhao Mingqing beside him and said, "Brother, if I just said, I misunderstood the person, would you believe it?" Zhao Mingqing pointed at Chen Ning and said, "Do you treat me like a fool?" "I dare not, dare not." "Did you admit it?" "No, it's not." "You still treat me like a fool, right?" Zhao Mingqing said hysterically, "Wait for me." "And you, Li Qingzhao, wait for me too." After speaking, he staggered away in anger. Chen Ning looked awkwardly at Li Qingzhao, scratched her head, and tried to maintain a smile, saying, "I think Miss has a broad mind. Do you mind this matter?" Li Qingzhao said, "He." Chen Ning became even more embarrassed and forced herself to say, "Well, actually I'm doing a program." "Have you ever heard of street pranks?" Li Qingzhao said, He. Chen Ning said, "I am familiar with the spring and autumn period. How could I possibly do such a heartless and unjust thing? I am a gentleman." Li Qingzhao said, He. She gave Chen Ning a fierce look of disdain, rolled her eyes wide, turned around, twisted her waist, and left. "No, what do you mean by that? I know that both you and the Zhao family have imperial backgrounds. I really got the wrong person." I cried to death. Not to mention, Li Qingzhao's figure is really good. Even when wearing silk long clothes, you can see the graceful figure of her back. I'm riding a horse. Am I crazy? I offended both the Li and Zhao families at the same time. Do I still have the mood to appreciate people's figures? Chen Ning suddenly noticed that there seemed to be an empty object on the stone railing of Bianhe where Li Qingzhao was leaning just now. "Are you feeling dizzy?" "No, it's not." He reached out to pick up the empty item. "Ding, congratulations on picking up antique masterpieces *1, item loading reserve box, ready for use, Picking up attributes. Mississippi." A maid with a bun on her head greeted Li Qingzhao and said, "I heard it just now." Li Qingzhao exclaimed, "What did you hear?" The maid said, "Do you want to tell the master to kill that disciple?" Li Qingzhao said with a righteous tone, "Nonsense. Miss, am I that kind of person? As a person, we should repay our grievances with virtue. Do you understand?" The maid said, She naturally had no idea about her young lady's plans. Li Qingzhao is in a good mood. Although there was some traffic just now, at least Chen Ning solved a big problem for her, didn't she? Since then, the young master of the Zhao family will not continue to pester and fight, and her father will not force her to have some boring dates with him, will he? So she should thank Chen Ning. Thank you very much, Chen Ning. As for whether he will be beaten to death by Zhao Gongzi, then whatever it is. Damn it, the treacherous Han Deng disciple deserves to be beaten. Let's go to the cultural and antique street to see some jade and antique artifacts. Li Qingzhao now has two hobbies. Writing poetry and prose, and collecting antique jade and stones. The Baozi head maid let out a sigh and said, okay. Chen Ning really split up, because just now, he found a woman wearing the same clothes as Li Qingzhao on the bank of Bian River. That's his canon friend. Chen Ning tearfully handed 3 taels of silver to the other party, confirming that there was no further dispute between the two sides, and quickly ran away. What should we do? Auntie has high expectations for him and has been using her remaining dowry to support Chen Ning, hoping that Chen Ning can study for the Imperial examination and pass the high school entrance examination. Auntie has high expectations for herself. She knows that Chen Ning spends a lot of money on education, and whenever Chen Ning asks for money, she never stings. Today Chen Ning took 3 taels of silver from her and said she wanted to buy supplies for the Imperial examination books. Now he only has 20 or 31 copper coins in his pocket, so he can't buy any Imperial examination books. Although the movable type printing technique of the Song Dynasty was already very developed, Confucian classics such as the 4 books and 5 classics were still sold at a high price. He can't buy any science books with this little money. How can I explain to my aunt when I go back? He can't bear to deceive the other party anymore. The other party treats Chen Ning really well and is very innocent. She believes whatever Chen Ning says and never doubts it. The more so, the more deeply Chen Ning feels guilty. The two of them rely on each other in Bianjing, and their wealth is almost at its bottom. They also have to let their aunt support them by eating, drinking, prostitution, and gambling. Isn't this scumbag? No, we have to use these 20 or 31 to make more money. After careful consideration, Chen Ning decided to go to the cultural and entertainment street in Zawazi, Zhou to pick up the leak. Doctor, how do you sell this? Li Qingzhao was interested in a very good jade stone, the Tang Dynasty Liangguo Li Bao jade stele, which bears the calligraphy of Yan Jinqing. In front of a vendor on Wenxi Street, Li Qingzhao was leisurely admiring this incomplete jade monument. The vendor doctor smiled and said, at first glance, the girl is a discerning person. This is a Tang Dynasty jade tablet, priced at 300 guan. How expensive is it? Li Qingzhao hesitated a bit. Although her father's salary is decent, it's not yet at the point where he can easily contribute 300 guan. Doctor, how do you sell this terracotta figurine? Chen Ning arrived at a vendor and just now, he had used the antique mastery attribute. This chicken rib thing can only last for 1 hour. He wandered around the Wenxi Street for a long time, and just when he was about to give up, he really found a treasure. Dr. Jian let out a sigh and smiled. This is the pottery figurine buried with Emperor Xuanzong of Tang, priced at 600 guan. Chen Ning said, I can't take this price. The doctor said boldly, do business. I'll negotiate, and you can also negotiate. Chen Ning said, I'm afraid the price I'm paying is not suitable. Young man, rest assured and speak boldly. Dr. Dian encouraged. Chen Ningdao said, 21. Sell. If you dare to bargain, I dare to sell. Li Qingzhao's mouth grew up in surprise on the side. At a price of 600 guan, he still has 21. Isn't he here to ruin the situation? Did the key doctor really sell it? She suddenly realized something and her cheeks quickly turned red. Just now, she really wanted to use 300 guan to buy the Tang Liangguo Li Baoyu stele. Now she only realized later, it's fake. The appearance of Chen Ning highlights her pure nature as a great resentment seed. Chen Ning blinked at Li Qingzhao and smiled, 300 guan is not expensive, Miss Li, you can buy it. Li Qingzhao. You go die for me. Shame me, right? Humph. Some heartless men, don't forget that even a few taels of silver are reluctant to pay, and they are still pretending to be big-tailed wolves. Do they still have money to eat dinner? Li Qingzhao counterattacked Chen Ning with a strange aura of yin and yang. Chapter 3. I Am Disregarded. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Ning smiled and said to Li Qingzhao, "Thank you for your concern. Do I care about you? Do you care about me? How could this person have such thick skin? Shameless." At this time, Li Qingzhao had no intention of purchasing the Tang Liangguo Li Baoyu steel. 300 guan, I'm not a fool. She turned around and was about to leave, not wanting to have any interaction with this scumbag and heartless man Chen Ning, and even unwilling to breathe air together. Pooh. Buy a fake pottery figurine to accompany you for burial. Brother, do you want terracotta figurines or not? Tang Xuanzong's burial items are genuine, and I only accept 20 guan. Chen Ning grabbed a fat man who was passing by to search for goods. The chubby man furrowed his features and pointed at himself, saying, "Are you talking to me?" Chen Ningdao said, "That's right. I think the young master has a jade tree and a graceful demeanor, with an extraordinary appearance. This pottery figurine matches your temperament very well." The fat man basked in the spring breeze, with a smile on his face. After listening, he said, "Agree. But I won't buy it." Chen Ning. The fat man chuckled and said, "Didn't you, the young master, hear what you were saying to Dr. Tan just now? You bought it for 21, then turned around and sold it to me for 20 guan. I'm not stupid, I bought a fake for 20 guan. Haha." Li Qingzhao suddenly stopped walking, she didn't leave. She quietly watched as Chen Ning made a fool of herself. Li Qingzhao was well organized, with a smile on his face and a look of eating melons and watching movies as he looked at Chen Ning. "You continue to deceive me, I'm just watching. If you want to sell it, I'm happy to buy a fake for 30,000 guan." Chen Ning certainly did not know Li Qingzhao's thoughts. The fat man in front of him said seriously, "Young master, this is not a fake." Fat man. "This is a fake." Chen Ning. "This is not." The chubby man frowned and said, "Do you believe that with just one punch, I can kill you?" Chen Ning said, "Believe it." Fat man. "So you're still lying to me." The ceramic figurine of the Xiaotian camel was made of old and fake glue and clay. In order to simulate it, the fake master even made the figurine break one arm. "I can tell at a glance that this is a recently released object. Are you still lying to me that it's true?" "I lost it. Encountered an expert." It seems that not all the people who come to Wenyu Street are talented and useless women like Li Qingzhao. There are really experts in this area. Chen Ning thought for a moment and said, "Wait a moment." In a moment, Chen Ning came over with a basin of sour water and put the Xiaotian camel inside. The fat man squinted his eyes, with a hint of appreciation in his eyes, and said, "Do you know any tricks, kid?" After a stick of incense, the pottery figurines melted in acidic water. This kind of old clay and glue will melt and crack when it encounters acidic water, and this method is easy to distinguish. Chen Ning's antique mastery item still has less than a burning incense stick left. His skill time is almost over, so he needs to quickly sell the Xiaotian camel, otherwise he won't be able to earn money today and won't be able to go home to explain. Fat man. "Look, this is fake, isn't it? The pottery figurines have melted, haven't they?" Li Qingzhao chuckled with a puff. Chen Ning looked at her sideways, and Li Qingzhao reached out his hand, pretending to be serious. "You keep deceiving." "No, keep making up." "I'm not laughing, hee hee." Boredom. Chen Ning ignored Li Qingzhao and turned to the fat man, saying, "Brother, you're right. The pottery figurines are fake, and I have no intention of selling them to you." What I want to sell is the camels under the terracotta warriors. The fat man was taken aback for a moment, then looked in astonishment at the shining camel in the basin. The unique arc light of Tang's Sankai, after soaking in acid water, the camel vein pattern on the porcelain can be vaguely seen. Good thing. The fat man was so excited that his eyes were shining brightly. He raised his thumb and said to Chen Ning, "You're amazing. You're amazing. I just saw that the terracotta figurines were fake and mistakenly thought that the entire price was fake. It turns out that the camels are real." Okay. The fat man took a deep breath and said, "Expert, so you're also an expert. You've really found a treasure. 20 guan, right? Well, in this case, Han will give you 30 guan directly and make friends. If you still have antiques, you can go to the 5th house in Wazi Hutong on the street and just talk to Han Ergong." Han Pengzi readily paid Chen Ning 30 guan, which translates to 30 taels of silver. Then he carefully wrapped the Shaotian camel's camel with a handkerchief, and left excitedly, walking a bit floating. 30 guan, buy a treasure, Han has made a lot of money. It is obvious that the price of this camel will never be so low, it is not a problem to double it 5 times. But Chen Ning did not demand extravagance, because he felt that this chubby man was either rich or expensive, deliberately buying a friendship and keeping a network to prevent future accidents from having an extra way to go. This is Chen Ning's network investment. Fortunately, he didn't invest wrong. Because this chubby guy who calls himself Han Gongzi is the second Gongzi of the current Korean Prime Minister, Han Yu. The scene was silent. Li Qingzhao's face was somewhat frozen, looking at Chen Ning with dementia. Does he really understand antiques? Li Qingzhao was shocked, but the vendors beside him were filled with excitement. He felt so heartbroken that he couldn't breathe, staring blankly at Chen Ning, wanting to cry without tears. "Did you sell something worth 30 guan for 21? Oh my goodness. This is even more uncomfortable than killing him." Amidst the vendor's melancholic gaze, Chen Ning took the 30 taels of silver he had converted into his pocket and greeted the vendor, saying, "Let's go." Vendor. Li Qingzhao hesitated for a moment and quickly followed Chen Ning. Chen Ning frowned and said, "What are you doing with me? Didn't you say I can't afford dinner?" Li Qingzhao pretended to be calm and said, "Didn't you notice? I was trying to motivate you." Oh. Li Qingzhao took a deep breath and smiled, saying, "I know that the young master is not a fish in the pond. I really can't bear to see the young master fall and use words to motivate you." Chen Ning exclaimed and turned his hand, "Didn't you just say I was lying and making up a story?" Li Qingzhao said seriously, "I'm actually helping you, otherwise that chubby guy wouldn't have bought it just now." Chen Ning smiled and said, "So you even helped me." Li Qingzhao nodded and said, "You can understand it that way." Chen Ning suddenly had an impulse to applaud. Undoubtedly, she is the most talented woman of all time. With higher education, she is different. When it comes to fabricating lies, she is always one after another. "So, what do you want to do?" Chen Ning asked. Li Qingzhao said without hesitation, "Help me, I need to dig out a piece of inscription." "Can you help me palm my hand? I know you're not honest." Chen Ning thought for a while and asked, "Do you like salty bean curd jelly served with sauce or sweet bean curd jelly served with sauce?" Li Qingzhao reacted quickly and said, "It can be salty or sweet." "I lost it. You don't play according to the routine. Agree that you will eat sweet and I will eat salty. What about different sweet and salty options?" Chen Ning smiled and said, "Sorry, I don't like bean curd jelly served with sauce. I hate people who eat bean curd jelly served with sauce most. So, I'm sorry, I won't help you anymore. Goodbye." After he finished speaking, he turned around and lifted his robe before leaving. Li Qingzhao. She stared blankly at the back of Chen Ning's departure, without realizing it for a long time. He despises me. How could he, a poor and sour scholar, despise me? I'm Li Qingzhao. Surprisingly being despised. Don't like to eat bean curd jelly served with sauce, you ask Mao. Why don't you die? You. Ah. Li Qingzhao is very angry, very angry. Chapter 4. Continuing to pick up properties. You are listening at novel-full.audio. 30 taels of silver is not much, but it's also quite enough for Chen Ning to have a good meal. The stir-fried dishes of the Song Dynasty were already very developed, and there were also many catering businesses in Bianjing, such as Fan Lu, Rinjian, Pan Lu, etc., which were quite famous restaurants. Not only can you have a meal alone, but you can also invite a few accompanying women to drink and write poetry together. These leading restaurants in Bianjing range from 5 to 6 guan, up to 180 guan, to thousands of guan. As long as you have money, you can spend it happily in these sales caves. However, Chen Ning naturally doesn't have the capital to go to these shops and be stubborn. He only has 30 taels of silver on him now, and even if converted to Tongdao, he only has 30 guan. Previously, if Chen Ning had received this unexpected wealth, he would have invited a few friends to visit Fan Lu, but now Chen Ning needs to live a frugal life. He went to a restaurant in Zhouqiaowazi and spent 300 yuan to treat himself to a big meal. He also packaged a crispy roasted duck and a pot of fruit wine for his aunt at home. On the way back, Chen Ning seemed to have thought of something and took a walk on the other side of Wenyu Street. The stall vendor saw Chen Ning and his mouth twitched violently, afraid that he would find another treasure in his stall. He kept watching Chen Ning vigilantly. Not for sale. He won't sell anything he wants to buy today. The heart cannot bear it. However, Chen Ning has no intention of going antique hunting. The antique mastery attribute he picked up from Li Qingzhao has already been used up. The reason why Chen Ning came here is to see if she can continue to find attributes here. As expected, in front of the stall, where Li Qingzhao had stood before, a golden item appeared. Chen Ning went in vain to grab it. Ding, you found a black silk bra *100, item loading reserve box, ready for use. I lost it and found so many at once. Chen Ning looked speechless. It's not very useful. Besides, it doesn't look good on me either. No, I can't wear it either. Just as Chen Ning was shaking his head and preparing to go back, Li Qingzhao stopped him. It's you again. What are you always following me for? You're not greedy for me to order anything, are you? I don't have any money either. Hiss. Chen Ning took a deep breath. Li Qingzhao's pretty face turned red with anger, and she reached out to stop Chen Ning, saying, "Don't talk. No. No. I'm not after your beauty. Do you match it? Am I crazy? I covet your shameless and heartless beauty as a scumbag with a stinky book. Dogs are not greedy." Chen Ning breathed a sigh of relief and said, "That's good." Li Qingzhao is extremely angry. She really wants to lie on Chen Ning's neck and take a bite. What do you mean by taking a cold breath? What do you mean by taking a long breath? I'm not even suitable for it, right? Li Qingzhao's blood pressure skyrocketed, but she had strong restraint and endured it. Li Qingzhao rolled her eyes wide and said with a friendly expression, "I admit that I didn't respect you enough before. I apologize. Well, let's make a deal. I need to search for some stone tablets and inscriptions now. Can you help me with the task? I'll give you a commission." Chen Ning looked curiously at Li Qingzhao and asked in confusion, "Why did you buy a gold, stone, and jade tablet?" Li Qingzhao said, "There are quite a few things you need to manage, hee. She felt she couldn't get angry, so she continued patiently explaining, "I've been collecting these things lately to prepare for writing a book." Jin Shi Lu. Chen Ning blurted out. He remembers that in history, Li Qingzhao and Zhao Mingqing seemed to be collaborating on writing the Jinshi record. Li Qingzhao looked at Chen Ning in surprise and said, "How do you know? Are you investigating me?" Chen Ning glanced at her and said, "What are you investigating? Are you planning to marry me? You don't deserve it." Li Qingzhao looked anxiously. Chen Ning let out a sigh and said, "What are you looking for me for? I'm leaving." "Ha! Young master, wait a moment." Li Qingzhao bared his teeth and showed a kind big smile. "To be honest, when you're not smiling, you look better than you do now." "You look really ugly when you smile," Chen Ning said seriously as she looked at her. "Damn it! Bastard!" Li Qingzhao tried to restrain himself and said, "What I mean is that you can't marry me yet. If we force our marriage, it will be pressure for you, and there will be many people pointing fingers at you. I am considering it for you. But don't lose heart either. You work hard and there will always be a time when you are in perfect match. Li Dacai is really cute, can't he tell that I just casually say it? Is she serious? Do you feel a bit too good about yourself?" However, what she said is also true. Since ancient times, it has been wrong to not be a household, and there has been no good outcome in feudal society. Li Qingzhao's father is a member of the Ministry of Rights, and Chen Ning has not yet passed the scientific examination. Women are strong and men are weak, won't they be looked down upon by the world? Whether Li Qingzhao is sincere or insincere, the fact remains the same. However, to be reasonable, this has really put Li Dacai in a difficult position. I'm afraid she's almost completely drained of her mind now, and only then did she come up with these tough explanations. "How much commission will be given?" Chen Ning suddenly spoke up. Before Li Qingzhao could react, his face immediately brightened and he said, "What do you think of the consistent money?" Chen Ning thought for a moment and said, "However, there are always times when I can appreciate antiques, and I'm not proficient in everything. What if I make a mistake? I am a gentleman, I cannot harm you like this. Well, let's do it this way. I'll charge you 100 won. If I make a mistake, we won't owe each other. How about that?" Chen Ning felt guilty because he really didn't understand how to distinguish antiques from treasures. He just picked up the attributes from Li Qingzhao earlier, and now he has used them up. Li Qingzhao smiled and said, "Okay, that's the decision." For the next half hour, Chen Ning followed Li Qingzhao all the way to the antique street. With half the effort, he selected a consistently expensive, Southern Tang Ziji Palace stone chime steel, for Li Qingzhao. Li Qingzhao paid 100 won, while Chen Ning took the money and ran away. Li Qingzhao was still immersed in the joy of collecting inscriptions from the Southern Tang Dynasty. She looked at them like treasures, but soon her face suddenly changed. Because this inscription contains idioms from the Song Dynasty, which should not have been found in the Southern Tang Dynasty. Fake. How could he catch a glimpse of such a low-level mistake? Not right. Li Qingzhao increasingly felt something was wrong. She seemed to have figured something out, so she quickly returned to the first vendor with a skirt in hand. "Do you know the young master from before?" The vendor glanced at Li Qingzhao and said perfunctorily, "I know you. Do you know each other? What do you want the old man to say? Do you know each other?" "Saying that kid picked me up, baby. Old man needs face, don't you? Then you, he. I got it. Are you partnering to pit others? Is it because that kid took the money and still wants to share it with you? You girl, your brain power is really strong." The vendor exclaimed, "Ah, yes, yes. Sure enough, sure enough. I was deceived. Ah. I was deceived by him again. Damn it. Why don't you die? You." Li Qingzhao is almost furious. Especially when I think of myself begging him so much. Disgusting. Li Qingzhao's face turned red with blood, and the maid tied in a bun beside her said, "Miss, what's wrong with you?" Li Qingzhao said, it's okay, it's not a problem." My heart hurts a bit, go home. Chapter 5. Shameful Business. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the west of Bianjing, on the left side, at the intersection of Jinliang Street and Liangmen Street, there is a courtyard. This is Chen Ning's mansion. This is an industry left for oneself by parents. Although not as developed as Mahang Street and Zhouqiao, this area is still considered the center of the inner city, which shows that Chen Ning's parents had a high income at that time. However, no amount of income can withstand Chen Ning's corruption. At this moment, the sky was gradually getting dark, with stars dotted around. The street-facing shop lights illuminated the city of Tokyo in the northern Song Dynasty like daylight. A vigilant voice came from inside the room and said in a crisp voice, "Who?" "It's me." Chen Ning spoke up and the door was soon opened. What caught the eye was a woman with a beautiful face and simple clothes. A woman in her 20s, whose hair has not yet been combed, proves that she has not been married. This is Chen Ning's aunt, known as Lu Honglu. "Red dear sister, have you eaten yet?" "Brother Ning, how did you come back at such an hour?" Lu Honglu looked at the lotus leaf bag and a pot of wine in Chen Ning's hand and said in confusion, "Why didn't you buy a book?" Chen Ning let out a sigh and said shamelessly, "I went out today to do a business." The small courtyard is not large, with 2 entrances in front and back. Chen Ning faces forward, and Lu Honglu follows behind, walking together towards the backyard. Among the 3 halls in the backyard, only the middle hall is lit with oil lamps. The central hall is clean and tidy and spotless. It is obvious that these were all cleaned up by Aunt Lu Honglu. Chen Ning is a bachelor, with ordinary clothes and supplies scattered everywhere. Lu Honglu is like a snail girl, cleaning up this place every day. There is a square table in the central hall, on which there are 3 sea bowls, all of which are covered with plates. Chen Ning glanced and opened the lotus leaf bag, revealing the fragrant crispy roasted duck. Goo goo. An untimely sound suddenly appeared inside the room. Chen Ning looked around and saw that Lu Honglu was a bit shy. He asked, "Sister Honglu, haven't you eaten yet?" Lu Honglu said, "I'm waiting for you." "Have you eaten?" Chen Ning felt a bit ashamed. He ate it, and it was still at the restaurant, but he couldn't bear to tell his aunt, so he said, "I didn't eat either. I'm just waiting for Red Deer to take a bite." A happy smile appeared on Lu Honglu's face and he said, "I'm going to prepare a meal. Eat quickly, I'm starving." She went to the kitchen with a rustling sound to serve rice, carrying 2 bowls of rice and placing them on the square table. Chen Ning looked at the sea bowl as high as a small mountain, with an extremely melancholic expression. "What's wrong?" Lu Honglu asked Chen Ning in confusion. "Oh, it's okay." Chen Ning smiled and said, "Red dear sister, try the roast duck to see if it tastes good." Mm. Lu Honglu picked up a piece of duck leg and put it into Chen Ninghai's bowl. Then he picked up a piece himself and started eating it in small bites. She smiled and nodded fiercely, "Delicious." Hey. In fact, she can live very well. When she came to seek refuge with herself, she had nearly 100 taels of silver on her body. They were all ruined by Chen Ning, otherwise life wouldn't have been so difficult. Eating roasted duck would have been as happy as anything. Every time Chen Ning thinks of this, her conscience is being condemned. No, wait a minute. Why do I have such a morally condemned heart? This has nothing to do with me. However, no matter what, when my aunt came to seek refuge with me, she also suffered along with me. This is true. Ning, did you just say that you did a business? You should take the Imperial examination. What are you doing in business? Why don't you buy books? Lu Honglu has high expectations for Chen Ning and has always believed that she can attend high school. In fact, Chen Ning used to brag and push Lu Honglu like this before. This girl is innocent. Whatever Chen Ning talks about, she will blush with excitement and then fall into fantasies. Actually, his predecessor, Chen Ning, was just a half-hearted scholar. Chen Ning let out a sigh and said, I can still buy books tomorrow, but if I don't do a business, I'll miss out on it. I invested all 3 taels of your silver in business. Lu Honglu hummed and said, have you made any money yet? Chen Ning smiled and said, how could it be so fast? It will take a long time for it to take effect. Lu Honglu nodded and encouraged, I will definitely make money. Chen Ning. How can you really deceive and believe, so you won't doubt it? Chen Ning laughed heartily. Lu Honglu blinked his eyes in confusion, his black and large eyes full of confusion. He immediately touched his red lips and chin, but did not get any rice grains. Brother Ning, why are you laughing? Chen Ning said, I lied to you and made money. Lu Honglu smiled and said, really? How much did you earn? Chen Ning said, guess what? Lu Honglu looked expectant and said, do you have 300 won? As her private money and dowry were about to be squandered by Chen Ning, Lu Honglu also found a job to weave clothes for some wealthy women. Her handicrafts are good, and the clothes she weaves satisfy the noblewomen very much. She can earn 30.50 won a day. So in her understanding, earning 300 won a day is a lot. Chen Ning said, be bold and guess. Lu Honglu widened his eyes and said, you don't know how to write 1,000 won, do you? Be even bolder. Lu Honglu shook her head, she didn't guess anymore. Chen Ning smiled and said, 30,000 won, 30 guan, 30 liang of silver. Lu Honglu widened his eyes in disbelief and said in astonishment, Brother Ning, really? Really? Without any hesitation, Chen Ning took out 30 taels of silver and handed it to Lu Honglu. Of course, there were not 30 taels left in Lu Honglu's hands, and he spent a little bit in between. Brother Ning. You're such a genius. You can earn so much in a day, which is worth the money I've earned for several years. Lu Honglu's silk did not conceal the admiration on her face. But don't give me this money. You spend a lot of money on science exams, you can take it yourself. Chen Ning shook her head and said, take it and give me some pocket money. I spend money recklessly, so it's okay not to pay. Ha! Did Ning Gu'er change her gender today? He used to love money the most. Okay then. Lu Honglu said, I'll keep it for you. If you need any money, just let me know. Chen Ning said, By the way, Red dear sister. I have another business to entrust to you. Lu Honglu confidently pointed to himself and said, me. I don't know how to do business, let's just say goodbye. Chen Ning said, this business can only be done by you. What is it? Chen Ning took out a black silk bra from her arms. In later generations, it would be pure and abnormal to step on a horse. But now Chen Ning's face is very solemn. Lu Honglu looked a bit confused, but after studying for a long time, he couldn't figure it out. He asked, Brother Ning, what is this? Why is there so little material? Is it for animals? I see many wealthy families will dress animals. Puff. Chen Ning almost spat out a mouthful of rice and quickly shook her head, saying, no, it's not. It's for women to wear. Ah. Lu Honglu threw the black silk bra aside and said, so few, which girl would wear it? Chen Ning had no sense of shame and said, it's not wearing the outside, it's wearing the inside. Well, strictly speaking, it's worn on the chest. Lu Honglu's pretty face turned red to the point behind her ears, and she lowered her head without daring to look up. Her face was scorching hot. Chen Ning quickly explained, Red dear sister, don't misunderstand me. I am a gentleman. Lu Honglu whispered, I know about this. It used to be, but now. Still, right. Chen Ning. Definitely so. Where did you go? Chapter 6. Kind Auntie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In March, the evening spring breeze blew in from outside the central hall, and the beautiful hair fluttered with the wind, blushing the girl's cheeks. Lu Honglu's face was hot and tight. Chen Ning said solemnly, "Red dear sister, this is a business, you don't need to be shy." Lu Honglu's heart beats hard. How could there be such a business? Who dares to wear this thing in a woman's house? Although the women of the Song Dynasty were relatively bold, they did not reach such a bold level. Chen Ning sighed and said, "The Imperial examination requires money. These 30 taels of silver are definitely not enough for future expenses." Chen Ning had no choice but to use his ultimate move, and whenever it came to the right path of scientific research, Lu Honglu was very serious. She quickly said, "Then work hard to earn money. I'll do more work every day and I can give you up." Chen Ning looked dejected and said, "I'm a big man. You come to me, but you still have to support me. What kind of man am I? Forget it, I won't take the exam anymore." Lu Honglu quickly said, "Don't, how can you give up easily?" She said in a slightly awkward low voice, I'll just do this business. Brother Ning, the scientific examination is a serious matter, we cannot give up. Chen Ning, she said, "Really? You go wear it and feel it. Red dear sister's figure is really top-notch, bigger than Li Qingzhao's chest. Get out. Chen Ning, you shameless bastard. What the blind chicken is thinking. This is my own aunt. Are you a beast?" Chen Ning hurriedly said in a serious tone, "Red dear sister, what I mean is that you just need to put it on and feel it yourself, without showing it to me. Whether it fits or feels comfortable, you can see for yourself. Moreover, this price is something that even if you privately talk to the wealthy ladies' wives, outsiders should not be aware of. Whether it can be achieved depends entirely on luck." Lu Honglu blushed and said, "If wealthy people like it, how should we price it?" Chen Ningdao said, 500 won per piece. Lu Honglu looked at Chen Ning incredulously and didn't have to be shy anymore. She exclaimed in shock, "How could a wealthy lady buy such a high price? He is not foolish either. He bought this rare material for 500 won. Although this material and design look good, they are not foolish either. How could they buy it?" Chen Ning smiled mysteriously. "I will buy it." Just these little wave hooves from the Song Dynasty were not the ones who lacked money, and they all had to find ways to arouse their own men's beastly desires. Which man can resist the temptation of black silk? Lu Honglu didn't say much and ran back to the room shyly, holding a black silk bra. In the boudoir, Lu Honglu nervously studied the bra for a long time before figuring out how to fasten the buckle. She was wearing the bronze mirror with a rustling sound, and after putting it on, her face turned even redder and hotter. She stared blankly at her graceful figure in the bronze mirror, and for a moment, she was also fascinated by it. The most crucial thing is that wearing this thing is much more comfortable than wearing a chest band. She tried putting on the outer garment again and found that its effect was no different from that of a chest tie. It's really good and comfortable. Lu Honglu was panting heavily and decided to pass on his coat and walk out. Arriving at the central hall, she felt a bit hesitant to look up. Chen Ning didn't make the atmosphere even more awkward. He handed a basket of black silk bras to Lu Honglu and said, "Sister Honglu, when you go to deliver clothes to the wealthy lady tomorrow, speak some intimate words privately. As for whether the other party will buy them, we don't insist." Lu Honglu whispered, took the basket, turned around, and walked away, reminding Chen Ning, saying, "Brother Ning, don't study these things in the future. Lying trough. Where did I research? Isn't this the attribute found on Li Qingzhao? I'm not a pervert, why am I studying this thing? Didn't I make the most of everything? I can't keep 100 black silk bras in the storage space all the time, can I? I can't wear it again." Chen Ning was about to explain when she heard a bang, and Lu Honglu's door had already been closed. Chen Ning casually touched her nose. Not to mention, after putting on her bra, Red Dear Sister really grew a lot. Get out. Shameful. At night, Chen Ning's study is still lit up. He looked at the 4 books and 5 classics in a daze, some of which he recognized and some of which he did not recognize. The evolution from Lishu to simplified Chinese still requires several hundred years of history. Chen Ning had no contact with Lishu in his previous life and only encountered simplified Chinese. How can this be handled? I can't even understand the official script, and I'm still taking the Imperial examination. Isn't that a joke? In the 3rd year of Emperor Shuring's reign, the Imperial examination was officially held every 3 years. Every autumn, various states and armies hold development and liberation trials. This was the first step of the Imperial examination in the Song Dynasty, and only those who passed could participate in the provincial and palace examinations, which was somewhat similar to the local examinations in the Ming and Qing dynasties. It's just that there were fewer scholar trials from the Ming and Qing dynasties. Chen Ning now doesn't even know whether to take the Imperial examination of the Song Dynasty or not. What's going on? The good news is that the first round of the exam will not start until next autumn. There is still plenty of time left for Chen Ning. It's just a year, and it's difficult for a novice who can't recognize a single word to participate in the Song Dynasty Imperial examination. Unless there is a hanging. Ha! Didn't I hang up? Li, a talented woman, is just one of her own cheats. If you have time, you should have more contact with Li Dacai and see if you can extract some more wool from her. Chen Ning was drowsy and didn't even think about it anymore. She went to bed. There is a separate garden on this side of Zhouqiaowazi, which is inscribed with the Jinshi Society. Li Qingzhao is the president of the Jinshi Society. She invited many talented women from Bianliang, Tokyo who are interested in historical documents to participate in the Jinshi Society. The purpose is to collect rubbings and jade stones. In Li Qingzhao's understanding, historical materials, especially those based on books and paper, are highly likely to have errors. Mistakes are inevitable in the study of history by future generations. However, the probability of errors in recording seal carving in contemporary artifacts such as rubbings, gold, and stones is very low, which has great reference value for historical research. Qingzhao's sister. Early in the morning, a woman from the Jinshi Society asked Li Qingzhao, "I heard from Weier that you went to the Wenxi Street yesterday to search for inscriptions on the stone tablets. How was it?" Li Qingzhao snorted, "Not good. Very bad." "What's wrong?" Li Qingzhao said, "If you meet a slut, don't mention it." The woman from the Jinshi Society let out a sigh and said, "All right, then I'll also go search and find something today." Li Qingzhao said, "If you find good inscriptions, come tell me." Good early in the morning. Lu Honglu made porridge for breakfast, told Chen Ning to get up and have breakfast, and then he said, "Brother Ning, I'm out." Her face still blushed slightly. Chen Ning had completely forgotten everything about last night and exclaimed, "Okay." Lu Honglu was holding a small basket in his hand, which was tightly covered by cloth. He walked cautiously, resembling a female version of a drug dealer. As for what? Chen Ning looked speechless. Chapter 7. Just be happy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Ning had breakfast and then went out. Although there are 20 or 30 taels of silver in the family, they are still not considered wealthy. Auntie was so excited to eat crispy roasted duck that she couldn't bear such hardship even though she was also a wealthy woman back then. Chen Ning pretended to be Huahuaguang under the guise of scientific examination, and she felt a bit sorry for her own wealth. We need to find ways to find more stable sources of money. Of course, Chen Ning also plans to add some nice clothes to his aunt. Who isn't the Langwozi on the Bian River wearing flashy clothes? When his aunt goes out, her appearance and figure, paired with a beautiful outfit, won't she beat them all? Chen Ning was pondering for a moment by the Bian River bank before planning to leave. Coincidentally, I met Li Qingzhao holding a round fan and wearing a light green long shirt. "Miss Li, long time no see." Chen Ning warmly greeted her. Li Qingzhao rolled his eyes wide and chuckled, "Who are you? Do we know each other?" Chen Ning smiled and said, "Didn't I just see you yesterday? You begged me to take you to buy rubbings on the antique street." Li Qingzhao snorted, "Do you still have the face to say that? You scoundrel, you bought me a fake yesterday. Also, don't think I don't know, you're with that vendor." Li Qingzhao, "Looks like I've seen through everything. I'll let you pretend. Do I think you're embarrassed? Shame on you. Do you blush?" Chen Ning looked confused and said, "What does that mean?" "Hush. This person has really thick skin. Even after being exposed, one can still look as if nothing has happened. Shameless. Bah." Li Qingzhao twisted her willow waist and fanned her fan as she walked forward. After taking 2 steps, she didn't forget to turn back and said fiercely, "Don't follow me. Don't see me again in the future. If I see you, I'll get annoyed. Bad luck. Chen Ning. No, what's wrong with her? Yesterday was discussed, and if we buy counterfeit goods, we won't owe each other anything. Besides, you haven't lost much money, as for what?" Chen Ning stood still, waiting for Li Qingzhao to walk away. As expected, he saw the golden object at the place where Li Qingzhao had just stopped. Chen Ning scratched in the void. "Ding, you found 1 Tang Moepo silver foil piece *1, item loading reserve box, ready for use." The Tang Moepo silver foil recorded the specific process of the Moepo incident. Although the silver foil is not very valuable, the historical materials on it are of great value. However, only those who like this thing will flock to it, and it is usually difficult to sell it. But it's always good to be able to pick up something. Chen Ning had no intention of studying historical materials, so he took the Moepo silver foil and went to the ancient culture street. To his surprise, he wandered around Wenxi Street for a long time and found many people, almost no one interested. Finally, there were a few who were interested, and the bid was only 3 to 5 guan yuan. Of course, Chen Ning is not willing to make a move on this amount of money. "Young master, can you show me this thing?" A woman stood in front of Chen Ning, staring intently at the Moepo silver foil in Chen Ning's hand. Chen Ning carefully looked at the other person with a moderate appearance and said, "Okay." The woman in front of her looked for a long time, her eyes starting from confusion, gradually becoming excited, and finally starting to pant evenly. "Sister, could you please restrain yourself a bit? Fortunately, there are many people here. If there are few people, others may not know what we are doing. Young master, what is the price of this item?" Chen Ningdao said, "Let's not talk about starting from the top 10. The woman fell silent for a moment and said, "Okay. Young master, don't sell this item again. I'll take it." "Well, but I don't have that much money." "Young master, why don't you come up with a place where we can trade?" Chen Ning thought for a moment and said, "Then it's in the White Alum Building Hall of Zhouqiao." The woman let out a heavy sigh, then turned around and left excitedly, seeming to remember something. She panicked back and asked, "I don't know how to address you, young master." Chen Ning blurted out, "My name is..." Don't talk, kiss me. Woman. No one calls that name. Chen Ning fabricated, "This thing was unearthed from underground and cannot be put on the table. We use the elegant name in our transactions, which is a rule in the industry." He really can't say his real name, it's all a one-time transaction, and Chen Ning doesn't want any involvement with the other party. The woman suddenly realized and said, "I understand. Young master, I'll see you later. I'll have our president go find you." President. Sounds like a triad by name. Fortunately, Chen Ning chose to stay at the busiest Baifan building in Zhouqiao, and even if the other party had an intention, he dared not act recklessly. Cheng. By the bank of Bian River. Qingzhao, why are you here? I happen to be looking for you. Li Qingzhao said in confusion, Xiaoya, what's wrong? Ning Paya said, I just saw a good price on the other side of Wenyu Street. Her expression appeared very excited. Li Qingzhao asked in confusion, what? Ning Paya said, Tang Moepo silver leaf. It's absolutely true. I took a slight glance and it clearly recorded all the contents of Moepo's mutiny, which seems to be different from historical records. Li Qingzhao exclaimed in shock, when? Really? Ning Paya nodded heavily and said, take it seriously. Perhaps Yang Yuhuan was not ordered to die by Emperor Xuanzong of Tang. This mysterious veil of history is still a mystery and has a great attraction to Li Qingzhao. Li Qingzhao quickly said, did you buy it? Ning Paya shook her head and said, it's a bit expensive. The other party's offer starts with a score of 10, so I came to find you, Sister Qingzhao. Li Qingzhao did not hesitate at all, not to mention 10 guan, she was determined to take down 20 guan and 30 guan. Where are people? Ning Paya said, I have decided on the trading location. It's in the hall of the Alum Tower, and he's a young master. He said that his colleagues call him, don't talk, kiss me. Li Qingzhao frowned and said with disgust on his face, what a name, so vulgar. However, she couldn't care whether the other person's name was vulgar or not. At this moment, her heart was filled with excitement and she said, Xiaoya, you go to the Jinshi Society treasury to apply for 10 guan coins. I'll go to the Alum Tower first. Come quickly, don't make the other person wait in a hurry. Ning Paya said, okay. Li Qingzhao, with an excited heart, hurriedly walked towards the direction of Zhouqiao with lotus steps. On the way. Li Dacai, what a coincidence. Have you met again? Chen Ning greeted Li Qingzhao with a smile on her face. Li Qingzhao glanced at him and snorted, bad luck. After speaking, she twisted her willow waist and hurried forward. After walking for a while, Li Qingzhao turned back and frowned, saying, I have some serious business today, so I don't have time to joke with you. Don't follow me. Chen Ning said, who is following you? This road is not driven by your family, and I have to go that way too. Li Qingzhao took a deep breath. Not angry, not angry. She needs to maintain her aura. She will go to the Alum Tower to meet guests later, and maybe negotiate. She also needs to think about how to lower the price. Li Qingzhao adjusted his mood, showed a smiling face, and bared his big white teeth at Chen Ning, as long as you're happy. Chapter 8. Don't speak, kiss me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhouqiaowazi. This place is located at the intersection of the east and west wings of Bianliang, with a dense and densely packed population. It is definitely the center of political and cultural significance of the Song Dynasty at present. The White Alum Building, a unique tile building construction, is divided into 4 floors with yen eaves, and behind it lies the long Bian River. In front of the door. Li Qingzhao couldn't help but turn to Chen Ning and said, I really have something to do today. Can you stop following me? I beg you to let me go. Chen Ningbai glanced at her and said, who followed you? I'm here for business. Okay. Great. Li Qingzhao held back her anger, smiled and reached out his hand, saying to Chen Ning, please come first. Be careful not to be kicked out if you can't afford it, haha. Chen Ning grinned and said, thank you very much for your concern. There are many diners in the lobby of the first floor of the Alum Building, and there is an elegant room upstairs. These diners are mostly in groups of 3 or 2. Chen Ning found a seat by the window and sat down, bored and waiting for the president to buy Tang Moepo silver foil. Li Qingzhao walked in and looked around, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. There were many diners in the Alum Building, but they were all in groups of 3 or 5. Xiaoya said that the other party is waiting alone. Well, there's someone nearby by the window, it should be him. Li Qingzhao paused for a moment, changed his mood, and walked towards the window of the White Alum building with a smile and dignity. Today, the court is resting, and the officials of the great Song Dynasty are the most relaxed civil servants in the entire history. The two officials from the Ministry of Rites made an appointment to drink in the elegant room on the second floor of the White Alum building, and then walked up the wooden ladder. The left officer of the Ministry of Rites curiously said, "Isn't that the daughter of Mr. Li's family?" The right chief of the Ministry of Rites looked around and indeed found Li Qingzhao. She smiled and said, "The precious daughter of the Li family is amazing. We are famous female poets in the Song Dynasty, and it is said that we will soon catch up with Duke Ouyang. Go and say hello." The two nodded and then walked towards Li Qingzhao with a smile. Li Qingzhao walked up to Chen Ning's back and sat down with a smile, looking up and saying, "Hello, I'm the president of Jinshi Society. I'm here to buy from you. You're sick." Before Li Qingzhao could finish speaking, he came up in a fit of anger. Chen Ning frowned and said, "Why are you cursing?" "Oh, so it's you. Are you the president of the underworld who came to buy Mowepo silver foil?" "What kind of underworld?" "That's the Jinshi Society." "No, you're here to sell Mowepo silver foil." Chen Ning. You are. Li Qingzhao exclaimed in surprise, "Don't talk, kiss me." Lying trough. The two officials from the Ministry of Rites were just getting ready to go up and greet Li Qingzhao. When they heard these words, they were so shocked that they couldn't even lift their feet steadily. Li's daughter. Take it seriously, hee, not limited to any particular style. The two of them looked at each other and then fled as if they were running away. The young people now. Bold and unrestrained. Times have changed. Li Qingzhao let out a loud cry, startling all the diners around him. Chen Ning thought for a moment and said, "Now. Where are you kissing? I'm a bit embarrassed." "Your uncle." "What are you so embarrassed about?" "You bastard. Kiss where, kiss you big-headed ghost." Ah. Li Qingzhao will be tormented and driven crazy by Chen Ning. "Where is the silver foil? You give it to me first. I'll give you the money later." She didn't have the face to stay here, looking at the strange gazes around her and feeling extremely anxious. "Don't do it. What if you don't give me money?" "Me, you, bastard." Li Qingzhao took a deep breath and said, "Go out and talk about it in detail." "Don't do it. What if you go out and find someone to beat me?" Li Qingzhao. "I don't know." Chen Ning let out a sigh and said, "All right, let's go." Li Qingzhao hastily confessed to the shopkeeper of the Baifanle shop, and later asked Xiaoya to go to Bianhe behind the Baifanle to find him. Immediately, she covered her face and ran towards the back of the alum building. Willows are leaning against me, a gentle breeze brushing against my face. Why are you running so fast? I can't keep up. Chen Ning follows up. Li Qingzhao stared closely at Chen Ning, his eyes seeming to kill someone. Ah. Li Qingzhao ignored him and hugged Chen Ning's arm before biting him down. I'll kill you, you bastard. Hiss. Chen Ning shook her arm, unable to move it away, gasping in pain and trembling all over. She swung her arm under her pants in front of her. Qingzhao. Sister. Ning Paya hurriedly ran to the back of the alum building, where the population was sparse. She immediately saw such a scene. Qingzhao half squatted in front of Chen Ning, who was still gasping for breath and trembling all over. Sleeping slot. Ning Paya widened her eyes in fear, and her face turned red with a swoop. This is still broad daylight. Qingzhao's sister. Just buy a silver foil, you don't have to be so unfair to yourself, do you? Ah. No face to look at. Oh, oh, oh. Hiss. Stop, I can't take it anymore. Chen Ning shouted, stop talking. Ning Paya covered her face, her fingers leaking a crack. Can I continue to watch? No, I need to give them some guidance, right? If anyone comes, it would be too damaging to the atmosphere. Li Qingzhao went crazy and let go of Chen Ning, wiping his mouth hard. Qing, Sister Qingzhao, have you finished your work? I didn't see anything. Ning Paya walked over with a blood-red face, reached out and handed Li Qingzhao 10 taels of silver, totaling 10 guan. Then, she covered her face and ran away in shame. Li Qingzhao. She tentatively walked to the back of Chen Ning, looked around, and saw Chen Ning placing one hand in front of her, her body constantly trembling. You. Me. I step on the horse. Li Qingzhao held her head and shook it wildly. Great talented woman, are you dancing? This is such a terrible dance. Chen Ning turned back in shock and saw Li Qingzhao shaking her head. Li Qingzhao was almost crying, and 2 lines of tears flowed down uncontrollably. After today, she has no face to see anyone at all. Woo-woo. Li Qingzhao squatted down and wept bitterly. Chen Ning walked over and said, are you okay? Don't worry about it. You bastard. I'm really unlucky, how could I know you? Don't you want the silver foil anymore? Li Qingzhao sobbed and said, yes. Chen Ning. He tentatively took the silver from Li Qingzhao's hand, quickly threw the Moepo silver foil onto the ground, and then quickly ran away, afraid that Li Qingzhao would go crazy again. Today we have another harvest of 10 taels of silver, which is very moist. Chen Ning carried the silver in her pocket and was in a good mood. The only downside was that she didn't find any attributes on Li Qingzhao today. Is this thing random? Chen Ning didn't think much either. She went to a silk shop and personally selected 2 spring clothes for her aunt. A light pink piece with a hint of red in between. A piece of goose yellow. They are all very simple and have a personality similar to her own aunt. I think she will like them. Then Chen Ning went to the bookstore to buy some science books. Although he didn't understand, he still had to pretend, otherwise when he went back, Lu Honglu would ask him why he hadn't bought any books. Chapter 9. The Nervous Auntie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 2 flowers bloom, each representing 1 branch. Mahang Street is located 3,000 steps east of the Imperial City. There is a mansion here, which is the residence of Han Zhongren, the current Prime Minister's left minister and deputy minister. Han Xiangong gave birth to 9 sons, 3 of whom passed away early, and the remaining 6 sons lived with Han Zhongren in a house on Mahang Street in Bianliang. It can be inferred from this that the Han family's homestead occupies a considerable amount of land. Lu Honglu entered the courtyard through the back door and arrived at an elegant room, where he brought his woven and cut clothes to the master's home. Lu Honglu never knew that this was the residence of the Duke of Han, but he had a good relationship with the maids under the Han family. After she gave the woven and cut clothes to the maid of the Han family gave Lu Honglu 300 won. Lu Honglu said with some anticipation, Sister Huana, I have a new type of clothing. I don't know if the host lady wants to buy it or not. Oh. What does it look like? The maids of the Han mansion all know that Lu Honglu has excellent craftsmanship, otherwise the clothes woven would not satisfy the second lady so much. Lu Honglu shyly took out the black silk bra, still with a slightly guilty face burning. After whispering to the maid of the Han family, she felt uneasy. The maid didn't care much. After thinking for a moment, she said to Lu Honglu, these clothes are really. Really, I'll go ask madam before we talk. Excuse me, Lu Honglu whispered and stood nervously in the elegant room. I don't know if the other person will like it, or if they will think they are a vulgar woman and not cooperate with them in the future. She didn't know many people in Bianjing, so she cut and made clothes for a few wealthy families. Because of her good skills, she was deeply loved by the ladies of these wealthy families. Losing a customer means that her income will be reduced. Ning Ji's pediatrics exam requires money, and if she loses a portion of her income, she will feel very distressed. Shoo, I shouldn't have said it. Lu Honglu felt increasingly guilty when he saw that the maid from the Han mansion had not returned for a long time. He wished he could cover his face and leave now. Fortunately, the maid from the Han family has returned. The maid looked stern and frightened Lu Honglu a lot. She hurriedly said, "Sister Huaner, I know this is a bit bold. Yes, I'm sorry. Can we still work together in the future?" The maid of the Han mansion chuckled and said, "You're scared, silly girl. Our wife really likes it. After all, how much does it cost?" Lu Honglu looked at the maid in shock, making sure that she wasn't joking. He happily said, "Really?" The maid of the Han mansion said, "Of course, tell me quickly. How much is it?" Lu Honglu is still a bit guilty. After all, this piece of fabric is sold for a consistent amount of money, and I don't know what the other party will think. 500 won. The maid of the Han mansion didn't feel anything wrong and said, "Mummy, here's the money for you." Ah! Lu Honglu never expected the other party to be so cheerful, and quickly said, "Thank you, thank you." In the evening, the sunset shines on the sky, and tomorrow will be clear for thousands of miles. Lu Honglu praised the small basket, with a smile on his face, and happily returned to the Chen mansion. After entering the second courtyard, they began to wash rice, cook rice, and stir-fry vegetables. After finishing everything, I started tidying up the room, mopping the floor, and wiping the table. After everything was done, Chen Ning also returned. "Brother Ning, have you eaten it?" "Of course not." Lu Honglu quickly went to a fend and brought the rice to the central hall. He then excitedly said to Chen Ning, "Brother Ning, you are really amazing." Chen Ning. "Ah. What's wrong?" Lu Honglu blushed and said, that material, have been sold for 500 won, and they haven't even negotiated. Didn't they feel at a disadvantage with such a small amount of material? Why didn't they negotiate? Lu Honglu doesn't talk much outside, but when he is with Chen Ning, he will talk a little more. After all, he is familiar. Chen Ning looked at Lu Honglu's excited expression and smiled. "This is very simple, because those high-ranking ladies are different from us. When we are still haggling over 1 or 2 taels of money, they will feel that this little amount of money is not worth anything at all. It's normal for you not to understand the gap between the rich and the poor, as well as the consumption concept, my silly red dear sister." Chen Ning didn't answer Lu Honglu's question and smiled, "So you earned 500 won today?" Lu Honglu excitedly said, "Not only that, there are 800 won, but also my money for making clothes." Chen Ning extended her thumb and praised, "Red dear sister, you're really amazing." Lu Honglu blushed and stroked her hair before saying, "It's Ning, you're amazing. I never thought this material could make so much money. I've been working hard for several days to make a garment and sell it for 300 won. Besides the cost, I can't actually make 100 won. You can earn half a penny with this little material, you're much better than me. You scholars have good minds, and Ning Guer will definitely become the top scorer in high school in the future." Chen Ning. Speak well when you speak, and when it comes to the scientific examination again, I feel very guilty. Ning, what did you go out for today? Chen Ning let out a sigh and said, "I went to buy a book and also invested in a business." "Did you make money?" Lu Honglu asked eagerly. Chen Ning nodded and said, "I've earned it, not much, only 10 taels of silver." Lu Honglu. Don't you call this too much? I heard that those who run sugar shops on Ma Xing Street only earn less than 10 taels of silver in a month. That is the busiest place in Bianjing during the Song Dynasty. You earned 10 taels of silver in just one day when you went out. Lu Honglu nervously said, Brother Ning, are you breaking the law? How could you earn all this money in one day? Chen Ning smiled heartily, gave a thumbs up, and said, Red dear sister, why don't I say you're amazing? You're so smart. Ah. This. Seeing Lu Honglu's anxious expression, Chen Ning laughed heartily and said, I lied to you this time. I am a scholar, a gentleman, and I read about spring and autumn. Today, I searched for another treasure on the Wenxi Street and sold it for 10 taels of silver. Don't worry, it's all clean money. Lu Honglu just patted his chest, and with each pat, he could highlight his proud figure. Chen Ning seemed to think of something and put down the dishes, saying, Red dear, please wait a moment. In a moment, he walked out of the room and took out 2 clothes, saying, I bought them for you. Do you like them? I don't know how to choose clothes. Lu Honglu hurriedly said, What's wasting this money for? Is it expensive? Not expensive, do you like it? Lu Honglu carefully took over the clothes, as she had not purchased any new clothes for a long time. It looks good. Lu Honglu has 2 shallow dimples when he smiles, which is extremely beautiful. Can I go see if it fits? Lu Honglu returned to the room, bustling around for a while, and appeared in front of Chen Ning wearing a light crimson long shirt. With just one glance, Chen Ning was stunned, like a jade sun banished to immortality. My aunt is so beautiful. Chapter 10. Tongdao Zhongren. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Han Prefecture. Han Gongzi Han Yu returned to the wing room. Recently, he has been in a good mood and found a treasure from the Tang dynasty in the Wenxi Street. Xianggong. Han Yu's wife is Wang Shi, the great-granddaughter of Wang Engshi. However, the old husband and wife have been together for a long time, and Han Yu has become tired of her sexual activities. Sleep. Han Yu casually said something and then decided to go to bed. Wang took off her clothes and put on a black silk bra, which immediately stunned Han Yu. You're like this. Han won't be tired anymore. Han Yu had no resistance to black silk, and the long-awaited excitement erupted again. An asteroid collides with Earth tonight. Madam, where did you buy this material? It's not bad. It has good taste. Xianggong, don't worry about the shortage of materials. You can reimburse me for 1 piece of 5 guan, Wang said in a crisp voice. Han Yu shouted, Report. You must reimburse. It's very cheap. It's worth it. The next morning, the spring was bright and Han Yu's face was radiant. He asked the maid Huaner and learned that the black silk bra was bought from Lu Honglu. He then sneaked towards the intersection of Jinliang Street and Liangmen Street. Chen Mansion. Lu Honglu is cooking breakfast. Chen Ning woke up early, read the Imperial examination book in the study for a while, and then began to feel drowsy again. I can't see it, I can't even see it. Dong dong. The door was knocked upon. Chen Ning was a bit curious and came to the kitchen to ask Lu Honglu, saying, Sister Honglu, your friend. Lu Honglu shook his head and said, I don't have any friends in Bianjing. Yes, Red dear sister rarely goes out except for delivering clothes to guests as usual. Brother Ning, is it your friend? Chen Ning has a headache. He has forgotten everything in the past, and he still doesn't remember his fox friends and dog friends in Bianjing. Chen Ning tentatively opened the door. Sleeping slot. A fat man in front of the door covered his face with a folding fan, and when he saw Chen Ning, he couldn't help but exclaim in surprise, Why are you? Han Yu took the fan off his chubby face, and it was only then that Chen Ning recognized him. Fat. Brother Han. What are you doing here? Han Yu said with uncertainty, I didn't go to the wrong place, did I? He carefully pulled Chen Ning aside and said, Come and have a detailed discussion. Chen Ning followed him inexplicably and curiously asked, "What's wrong?" Han Yu scratched the void in front of Chen Ning's chest with his hand. "Nima. You crazy pervert." Chen Ning almost couldn't resist punching him. Han Yu blinked and said, "Black, is that thing being sold at your house?" Chen Ning looked at him in confusion for a long time before realizing it. "Selling. That's right, it's selling. Are you coming to buy it?" Han Yu laughed heartily and said, "Indeed, only people like you and I can study such fascinating things." Chen Ning. I am studying, you big-headed ghost. Han Yu smiled and hugged Chen Ning's shoulder, saying, "Since it's you, brother, Han can rest assured. Do you want a set?" He secretly took out the money, 5 guan, 5 taels of silver. Chen Ning's head is covered in black lines. Han Yu said, "Don't make fun of me, kid. My wife told me the price, that's all." Chen Ning. Your wife has something. Fortunately she didn't go to manage the money for your home, otherwise she could have emptied your Han family. Chen Ning calmly put the silver into her arms and said, "Wait a moment." Before long, Chen Ning held her hand in her arms and walked over with a lewd expression, secretly handing the black silk bra to Han Yu. He chuckled and patted Han Yu's shoulder, saying, "Arrange unlimited soul enchanting matters. There's no way to keep him, go with him." Han Yu raised his eyebrows, "This word is not bad. Can you elaborate on this?" Chen Ning. What? Han Yu frowned and said, "How do you say this word?" Han Pengzi gave him 5 taels of silver, and even giving him a romantic poem would not be a big deal. Chen Ning was pondering, and Han Pengzi calmly took out 1 or 2 silver coins and handed them to Chen Ning, saying, "Good brother, don't be stingy." Good brother. Chen Ning is overjoyed, he is really my own brother. You friend, I made a reservation. I make friends with someone, and as long as I give money, they are all good brothers. In my dream, it was already a sad road. Lotus tears, cherry language. Full of curtains and flowers, all misled by human hearts. If it's windy and stormy tonight, why did you ask him to come? Arrange unlimited enchanting events. Calendar red paper, green silk quilt. If there is no way to keep him, let him go. There are still many more times, when people are close, they will worry about returning to their place. Chen Ning still remembers the lyrics of Qin Huai's 8 Beauties and Lu Rushi. Hush. After listening, Han Yu climaxed. Good words. Sleeping trough. This is really a good word. Don't look at Han Yu's lewd appearance. His knowledge is not low. His father Han Zhongren is the current prime minister, and his grandfather Han Qi is an extraordinary figure during the reign of Emperor Shenzong. Fan Zhongren was recommended by Han Qi. He naturally knows how to judge words. At first glance, when he heard this word, he thought it was about romance, but it turned out to be about the delicate emotions of deep affection and shallow affection. This thing is most popular in Gulan. Good brother. There's still 1 or 2 silver left. Don't be polite to Han. Han Yu handed Chen Ning 1 or 2 silver coins and left trembling. Chen Ning's face was solemn and he said loudly, "Ning, half of my life I have been wandering, I only hate not meeting a wise master. If I don't abandon you, I would rather recognize you as your father." Han Yu walked halfway, his chubby body trembling slightly. He's too genuine. How do you feel that something is wrong? Han Yu didn't react for a moment, but he still left excitedly. Within the Chen mansion. Brother Ning, who is it? Chen Ning said, "Oh, it's a money giver." Lu Honglu let out a sigh of surprise and said, "How could someone still send you money early in the morning?" Chen Ningdao said, "I took him to the cultural and entertainment street to search for a treasure and gave him a reward." Well, breakfast is ready. Come and have a meal. In the evening, the lights near the State Bridge began to shine brightly. There are many tiles here, and there are over 50 Gulan tiles within the Zhouqiao tiles, making it the most famous red light district in Bianjing. South Hua Drum Tower, where the lights are red and wine is green, past scholars are drunk and dreamy. Qingchun Gulan is the largest Gulan venue inside the drum tower. There are 6 King Huaren here, known as Qingchun Luhua at that time, and all of the most famous flower leaders in Nanhuatzi come from here. The Qingchun Gulan is bustling, with many scholars rushing to study. The evening breeze is warm and gentle, blowing into the face, as warm as the Nai Zi pressing against the face. Sister Zhang, old rules. How about selecting people based on words? Then send it out. In the elegant room on the 3rd floor, 3 courtesans teased each other. Immediately, the old lady in the Qingchun Gulan sang to the readers in the 1st floor hall. When they heard that Sanwaki had taken the lead with his words behind the scenes, the readers were extremely excited. Okay. Meeting friends through words is just like that. I, a man from the Song Dynasty, should be so fast in this world. Brother Zhu, will you come first? The reader, who was called Brother Zhu, lowered his head and pondered. The whole room gradually quieted down, and soon he shook his folding fan and slowly began to recite. After reciting the conventional words, scattered applause rang out. In the crowd, Han Yu looked and listened faintly, his gaze, demeanor that looked down on all beings and the world, as if he was shouting in his heart with disdain. You are all garbage. It's okay, you continue. Han will take action.